Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. There are some significant areas that can be corrected. Former Olympic gold medalist questions Coco Gauff's serve-focused strategy. She won the French Open after beating world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka in the final with a score of 6-7, 6-2, 6-4. Interestingly, however, it is the only title that Gauff has won in the singles category in 2025. Her most recent appearance was at the Shanghai Masters, where she was knocked out after losing in the semifinal to fellow countrywoman Amanda Anisimova in straight sets with a score of 6-1, 6-2. Aside from winning the French Open, Gauff did not have promising outings in the other three major events, where she managed to advance to the quarterfinals or beyond only once. That was at the Australian Open, and where she lost in the last 8 clash against Spain's Paula Badosa in straight sets with a score of 7-5, 6-4. At Wimbledon, Gauff suffered a shocking first-round exit after losing to Ukraine's Diana Yastremska in straight sets with a score of 7-6, 6-1. At the U.S. Open, Gauff lost to Japan's Naomi Osaka in straight sets with a score of 6-3, 6-2. One of the reasons behind Gauff's inconsistent performances on the court is her serve. Gauff is leading the charts in the double fault category in women's tennis in 2025. She has committed 347 double faults in 51 matches, which is 95 more than any other women's player in the ongoing season. To address this, Gauff has made some radical changes in the recent past. Interesting piece of advice for Gauff. Just days before the start of the fourth and final Grand Slam of the year, Gauff decided to part ways with her coach, Matt Daly. The decision was a surprising one, as under Daly's coaching, she went on to lift the French Open earlier this year. Gauff went on to replace Daly with biomechanics expert Gavin McMillan, in what seemed to be a concentrated effort to address the serve issue. The decision, so far, has not done her much favor. The decision of Gauff to change her coaching staff to focus on improving her serve has surprised a few as well. Former world number 3, Russia's Elena Dementieva, is one of them. The two-time Grand Slam runner-up has recently featured in an episode of Hard Court, where she expressed surprise at seeing Gauff's decision. Dementieva was of the opinion that instead of just focusing on improving her serve, Gauff should concentrate on improving her forehand as well. I'm surprised that she chose a serving specialist, because in my point of view, it would be a good idea for her to somehow reconsider her forehand, said Dementieva. She is, of course, very well physically developed, but there is a one-handed game going on there. Right now, she's just saving herself with her good physical shape, but there are some significant areas that can be corrected. Dementieva, who also won an Olympic gold medal in the singles category back in 2008 in Beijing, where she defeated fellow countrywoman and the former world number 1 Dinara Safina with a score of 3-6, 7-5, 6-3, also stated that in her point of view, high number of double faults is not stopping Gauff from producing better results on the court. I'm surprised, because she says she makes a huge amount of double faults, but it doesn't stand out in the game, Dementieva said. She wins Grand Slams with them, and when she makes them, is it a psychological problem or a physical one? I can't say that I associate it with the technique. The final ball hit the tape and dropped listlessly into Coco Gauff's side of the court. The stadium erupted, not in triumph, but in a collective exhale. A game that had felt so close had slipped just out of reach. Again, in the post-match buzz, headlines quickly followed, each more surgical than the last. But one voice cut through the noise with the sharpness of insight. A former Olympic gold medalist, now a respected analyst, spoke not with ridicule, but with concern. There are some significant areas that can be corrected, she said, eyeing the stats. Coco's serve-focused strategy, it's bold, but is it boxing her in? Her words echoed not only across sports networks, but deep within the minds of fans and analysts alike. It wasn't an attack. It was an invitation. A challenge to reimagine the weapon that became a crutch. Coco Gauff's serve is, without question, one of the most formidable weapons on the WTA Tour. Fast, fluid, and delivered with the confidence of a champion. It has dismantled seasoned veterans and carved paths through seemingly unscalable brackets. At its best, Her serve is poetry in motion. But as any strategist will tell you, reliance on a single weapon, no matter how powerful, can quickly become a liability. This is what the Olympic medalist hinted at, not with condemnation, but with the subtle alarm of someone who's been to the summit and knows how easily the wind can change. She understood that even a strength, if overused or not strategically supported, can lead to imbalance. Gauff's matches had started to form a pattern. First serve winners, a flurry of aces, and then, inexplicably, momentum shifted. Double faults crept in. Rallies shortened not by brilliance, but by desperation. Her movement, fast but sometimes too reactive, couldn't always reset the pace. And perhaps most tellingly, when the serve faltered, so did everything else. The art of correction. The word correction often carries a negative weight, like something broken needs fixing. But in elite sport, it is not shameful to correct, it is essential. Correction is the path of mastery. The greatest champions, Serena Williams, Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, are master editors of their own games. Serena once rebuilt her serve motion after a shoulder injury. Federer transformed his backhand in his mid-30s to combat Rafael Nadal's topspin barrage. Djokovic remade his diet, his team, and even his mental approach. These were breakdowns. They were breakthroughs. So when the former gold medalist said there were significant areas that can be corrected, it wasn't a warning shot. It was a blueprint. Gauff's serve isn't the problem. It's the over-reliance on it. Her game has the potential to be a symphony, but too often it's being conducted like a solo. The unwritten parts of her game. At just 21, Gauff is already a Grand Slam champion in doubles, a finalist in singles, and a household name. Her poise under pressure, her mental strength, and her physical gifts are all extraordinary. But what's more exciting and more challenging is that she's still a work in progress. Here's where the evolution can begin. Return game creativity. Gauff has quick reflexes and a wide wingspan, but her return of serve often lacks variety. Instead of slicing or redirecting pace, she engages in straight exchanges, giving power players a rhythm. Injecting variation into her return game could disrupt opponents' confidence early. Transition play. She's quick to the net, but doesn't often build her game around transition. Using her athleticism more creatively, serve and volley plays, chip-and-charge moments, or even mid-court aggression would keep opponents guessing. Second serve strategy. Her second serve is sometimes rushed, leading to double faults. This is mental and mechanical. A more fluid toss, combined with a consistent kick serve, could bring stability. More importantly, choosing smarter second serve placements rather than pure pace would give her a better margin for error. Point construction. At times, Gauff wins points with raw talent rather than construction. Developing a deeper tactical playbook, how to build a point patiently, when to accelerate, when to reset, will elevate her from contender to dominator. Coaching, courage, and change. Great athletes are not just made in matches, they are forged in decisions. Gauff's decision to hire Brad Gilbert in 2023, for example, was inspired. Under his guidance, she surged in performance, capturing the U.S. Open. But even with Gilbert in her corner, the learning curve remains steep. Change in sports is never easy, especially when you're already winning. It requires courage to dismantle what is working just enough in order to build something that works without limits. The medalist's critique wasn't a call for Gauff to abandon her serve. It was a reminder to expand the rest, to bring her baseline game, her mental tempo, and her rally IQ into equal standing with her explosive serve. The mirror of expectations. With talent comes pressure. With early success comes expectation. Coco Gauff, like so many before her, has grown up under a microscope. And while that scrutiny can motivate, it can also distort. It can force young athletes into boxes. Power player, defensive grinder, serve and puncher. When in reality, the best versions of themselves are still forming. The serve-focused strategy may not even be her natural choice. It may be a response to the pressures of competition, to coaches, to media narratives. She might have leaned into it because it brought early success. But now is the time to redefine what success looks like. Not just in wins, but in style, in confidence, in freedom. A champion in motion. What the gold medalist saw wasn't a flaw. It was an opportunity. A reminder that greatness doesn't rest. That true champions don't wait for their game to fall apart before evolving. They evolve before anyone expects them to. Coco Gauff stands at a crossroads many elite athletes face in their early 20s. Does she double down on what's worked, or does she risk short-term discomfort for long-term dominance? Correction isn't failure. It's maturity. It's wisdom. And it's power. The serve that launched her into the spotlight isn't going anywhere. But the version of Gauff who takes her game beyond it, that's the version who will leave a legacy.